Okay, Bert Albert?
Yes, the term limitation thing we've had around, it seemed like the people that are out seem to want term limitations because they haven't got in. That's happened throughout the country, and I've talked to my family all over the country. It's been funny. But I don't think we should have term limitation. I'm working on term limitation personally, and I think and Jack may not appreciate that, but that's my method of term limitation. But let me say this too. I think everybody has a privilege, and I think that's a personal thing. I personally think it should be and will be someday an idea that's come to referendum, and maybe the voters would like to make that choice themselves. I want the opportunity to vote on it in the future.
Jack Jenkins?
I think Bert's going at it exactly the right way. I think that it isn't really an issue in Bowie. I think each 2 years there is a term limitation, in essence, because we have an election every 2 years. In only the 8 years that I've been on the council, I've seen 2 incumbents upset, and I think that indicates that it can be done. I think it's interesting to note that in 1984 there was an advisory question on the ballot in Bowie asking about the length of terms, which is in a way related to this. And in that vote, roughly 50% of the people supported a 2-year term and roughly 50% more than a 2-year term. So I'm not sure that it's an issue in Bowie, but I certainly would be in favor of it being an advisory question on the ballot so that people can address it.
Richard
Yes,
Dunn.
the people that Mayor Logue speaks to, they're his political cronies. You talk to the typical working person here in Bowie who doesn't follow the council proceedings. You see, I've learned that there's this little club, okay? And Mayor talks to his little club, but not everybody is aware of this little club. People are starting to find out, though, by the way. But you talk to a number of people, I have talked to a number of people, there are 4 term limitations, and I am making this an issue in this campaign and in this election. People have spoken to me about term limitations.
Okay.
Will Richard agree
Now,
to shut up about it if he
I think we've had enough on that. Let's go on something a little bit related, and you feel that compelled to address this particular issue inserted in the answer on the other one, and that is referenda and public initiative. There's a trend around the country, I'm told and I read, that people want more direct involvement in the decision-making that their government representatives do. In many instances, it may be due to Congress, a dissatisfaction with how politicians are behaving. Do you favor involving the people more directly in government policy making, such as through referenda or public initiatives? Who wants to take that?
Yes.
Fred first, then Richard Dunn.
Well, I think on major issues, particularly big buck items, big bond issues, land acquisition issues, I think the city has taken those kind of issues. Day-to-day operations, I think basically that's what this group is elected to do, as a representative.
Now wait a minute, Fred, I heard you say the city has taken those kind of issues. The city has never voted on a bond issue or anything?
Well, they voted on Allen's Pond, the golf course.
Oh, but they were but weren't they advisory? We're talking about,
I don't have a problem with
mandatory bond issue.
Imagine going out to sample opinion on things that are going to impact this community to the next century. I think are reasonable and rational courses of action.
Okay, you're in favor of advisory bond referenda. Anybody else?
Mr. Galati, you're seeing before you right now deathbed repentance, because this city council doesn't listen to the people of Bowie. And I'll give you an example, a specific example. People came out at the last tax increase. 5 citizens spoke out against the last tax increase, and this council did not listen to public input. So why this council has insulted the people of Bowie in terms of listening to public input? I'm in favor for bond referendums, and I plan to introduce that legislation. I've heard people speak before the council stating this obvious, so obvious situation with the bonds, and this council doesn't listen. So you're seeing some deathbed repentance right now.
Anyone else want
I hope the rest of us survive the evening.
Yes, I would favor bond referendums. I think these are issues that should be brought to the public because the city council is in effect binding future city councils for 10, 20 years, 30 years. So I think that bond referendums would be a good idea.
Anything else? Anything else, Mr. Violante?
Yes, the only other comment is to get back to the last one with regards to term limitations, and I have not found that to be an issue, and I'm not convinced that at this level there needs to be term limitations.
Okay, one more question in this particular series, and that is, when the city of Bowie first had its charter written 29, 30 years ago, because the overwhelming number of people who lived here worked for the federal government, and since federal government people under the Hatch Act are prohibited from politics to getting involved in partisan politics. Now, from the latest demographics, I get the idea that more than half of the people of Bowie do not, in fact, work for the federal government. Do any of you now feel that we should go into partisan elections as opposed to nonpartisan?
I say no.
I've already...
Wait, Richard, you're always going first. I want to get someone else. Jack Jenkins.
Well,
I'm sorry. No, I don't think it should go into partisan politics. I think that this provides an opportunity for the widest possible variety of individuals to participate in the local political process. I think it's healthy, and I think it should be kept that way to ensure that kind of broad participation.
Jack,
I totally agree with what Jack has said. I think at this level there is no need for partisan politics whatsoever. And if anybody has aspirations of going on in politics, let them go play the partisan game. But at this point, no way.
I believe that Mr. Twigger and Jack has hit the nail.
Then there's no negative, is there a contrary opinion?
Contrary opinion?
Yes, I do. I've brought this possibility, I've raised this as a question to the council before, and of course the council never responds or answers. I'm a property owner in the city of Alexandria, and there numerous government employees live in Alexandria. They have partisan elections, and their elections get quite a bit of coverage on TV, in the print media, and I think that's good. It promotes competition, and I would be in favor of hearing the public's, not the incumbent councils, the public's input on this.
Okay, now I think I'll turn this over to Richard here for another segment of the Q&A.
All right, fine. There was, in addressing this issue of referendums, no one really addressed the issue of public initiative. And before we move on, we've all avoided the public initiative aspect, and I'd like to hear someone address that public initiative aspect, and I think I'll turn to Mr. Twigger.
I'm going to pass.
You're going to pass. Mr. Oliver.
Well, part of what I think we should be doing as county council, city council people, sorry, Chris, is, I always looked upon him that way, as really getting more involvement from our community. Now, you're talking about the initiatives. If we develop some initiatives to create their involvement, and petition is an initiative they could do anyway, the citizen, or to develop a referendum issue. We haven't got much of that. If we want more citizen participation, maybe we should have more citizen involvement. It's absolutely ridiculous that we only have 20 to 25% of the registered voters in this city come out and vote city election.
Jack?
You know, I think Bowie is one of the most incredible cities for citizen participation of any municipalities that I've seen in this area. There is no lack of citizen input. There is no lack of opportunity for citizen input. Witness the Monday night council meetings when individuals can come before the council and say anything they wish in terms of their concerns. This community is one of the most involved communities that I know of, and I don't think we're lacking in terms of citizen input, frankly.
Mr. Ailshire.
I can attest from the fact that I have brought a few petitions before the council that gave all the concerns of highway speeding, traffic, needing top lots or whatever. The city worked with us. We didn't have to, you know, the people signed the petition. I think the petition process works.